WrestleMania match, to be quite honest with you. But we're about to see. I like that there from Batista. I've got to say, early on, I know it is early on, but Batista, the way he's working, it does look like he's... I don't know if it's just because it's well put together at the moment, or someone's booked this for his strengths, but when I saw him against Triple H last year, he looked so awkward, and it looked so sort of over the top, really, from him, that I kind of feel like he needs somebody in there with him that can direct him. He's not terrible, Batista, by any means. He's definitely a good talent. There's no doubt about it. But I think, unfortunately, what lacks for him is when they made him at WrestleMania 21. I always said, and I remember saying it at the time, I was writing for a newsletter, and I was doing columns for them and stuff. And I remember putting down the night after that Batista was always going to be a short-term, babyface, and John Cena was always going to be the massively long-term. And wow, that's pretty decent there, DDT, pretty decent. And the reason I pointed that out is that the storyline between Batista and Triple H was a lot hotter than the John Cena JBL one, and it was one of the best. Again, another great road to WrestleMania, in my opinion. The whole build to it was excellent, but unfortunately, once that match had finished with Triple H, it was like Batista really didn't have anybody else to sort of step up to him, or like that whole Triple H feud had been such a long thing with Evolution, whereas John Cena knocking off JBL, he kind of had he was just building and building and building, and you knew this guy could adapt to different wrestlers. That he could have terrific matches with people like Kurt Angle. He could also have great matches with people like Undertaker. He was really well versatile like that. Of course, at this point, Batista's sort of WrestleMania matches coming out of 21. So he went, I believe, I'm trying to think what happened at. I can't remember what was he involved in 22 or was he out of 22? I can't remember now. I'm going to have a look. That's going to drive me mad. My brain has gone blank, on Batista's WrestleMania matches up till this point, but I'm just going to check that out now whilst we're watching this, because it's going to drive me mad if I can't find that out. So I'm sure somebody's screaming on there. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we had WrestleMania. Hang on, what we got here? Yeah, WrestleMania. He had matches with Marga, of course, the whole Donald Trump, Vince McMahon, and I forgot about all that. That had happened at WrestleManias. Then you had obviously the match with Triple H that had taken place. He also did, of course, he got a match with The Undertaker, which was quite a big feat at WrestleMania 23. I suppose that's pretty decent. He'd done the whole thing with Evolution, so he had I remember now, WrestleMania 20. Before that, he'd had it was him, Orton, and Ric Flair up against the Rock and Sock Connection. The match with Triple H, of course, at 21. So yeah, he'd had a pretty decent, fair crack at it. You can't say he didn't have some big matches in there. So he'd always been kept on high regard. There's no doubt about that. But when you think about John Cena, at this point he was without doubt the guy. I would say. I mean, he really did have the star power at this point. WWE were pretty much putting all their eggs in one basket. I mean, he was an absolute juggernaut for, selling merchandise. Absolute juggernaut. As we see these matches now. But yeah, after this, he'd go on WrestleMania after this against The Miz, which is unbelievable to think about that match now. Obviously, that didn't go down too well at the time. I think we all kind of know what happened there. The year before this, John Cena had been involved in like a triple threat, which I think that's the year he picked up both Big Show and Edge to do like a crazy FU at the time. He'd also done another triple threat match between himself, Triple H, and Randy Orton at 24, which was quite a big thing. And of course, he'd had matches against Triple H and Shawn Michaels, so he was, the stud guy, no doubt about it. As we see him putting on the. Now I wonder what this was called back then. Was this different? This might have been the FTFU. I don't know. They had to change so much of his stuff for the whole name attitude adjustment and all that crap. I think it would have been FUs and all that here, I would imagine. But yeah, people, I think Cena's got a lot more respected nowadays than he ever had done, but it used to drive me a bit mad when people used to knock him a lot, because his work ethic and commitment is just out of this world. It's a good match, by the way, that we're seeing here. I'm talking all over this, but this is a great match. Spear there from Batista. You just can't fault John Cena in that regard. Like he was the Hulk Hogan again, really, the second coming around for WWE in many ways, and it was at a time where, I know we reviewed, like, we went back and done a watch along with Warrior. If you haven't checked that out, please do. But when you look at that, and the fans were a lot more, they were educated better back then. At this point, look, fans had already cottoned on to so much. There was so much exposure from the early 2000s that we're at 2010 now. Everything was basically out there. And it's just so much harder because the fan now is educated to understand what the company is trying to, give the fans, which is basically they're trying to make you a massive star, but you can identify with what they're trying to do, to the point where fans reject that, they spit it back out, and it's very, very difficult to do. However, I think that there can be no doubt that Hogan would have had the same problem towards the end, but the kids is kind of like the big thing here, and I think John Cena and Hogan, they both share that common ground that, if you're a child or you're a young fan, these guys, they do have massive influence, and again, they would create a lot of money for the WWE by selling their stuff. This has been very, very well thought out. I've enjoyed this match. I've got to be honest with you. As we see now, Cena, he's going for the Batista bomb. Yep. Do you know what? I was never a fan of the Batista bomb. I used to like the power bombs of, like, the way Sid used to do them. Just that, that smash to the bottom. But Sid would always still be on his feet. I never liked the whole going down with the guy and rolling backwards. I just didn't really like it as much. But so yeah, Batista kicked out of the Batista bomb there. Obviously, the reaction is, can't believe you did it. The big gnarly heel. Going to go for a second time. No. The other thing I suppose worth pointing out is the year these two went on and won their gold. That was the year, of course, that crazy Royal Rumble happened. God, that looked awkward then for John Cena. Here we go. FU. Massive FU. Oh, kicked out. I can't remember the finish to this, so I thought that was it then. Cannot remember the finish. I got to say, the fans are really into this. I don't have much sound, but I can tell just by looking at this, they are doing a great job. They are telling a good story. That audience is definitely engaged in what they're seeing, which is good. That's what you want, that sort of excitement. We're going to see what Cena's going to come up with. He's going to go to that top rope. I forgot he used to do this. I'm not sure he does this as much now. But yeah, pretty. But yeah, that run to WrestleMania. Whoa, I don't think that came out as good as I thought it would have done. But it wasn't bad there. Not quite as good as catching in an RKO, but nonetheless. Here we go. Where's this? Another one as well. It's got to be. No. Oh, here we go. Submission. The STFU, I'm guessing. Maybe this is how it finished. I really can't remember. I think this is, because I think I remember the whole quit thing now. I remember the story coming out of this. Has just rung a bell. I suppose really the reason this match probably took place the way it did, and it was worked backwards as he taps out there, and WWE decided to go with this and have Batista as the full-blown heel, which made it so much better. Like, there's sometimes you could have babyface versus babyface, but I think having Batista as a heel was a better idea. But I think the reason this match got made was the fact they knew Batista was going to be leaving shortly after, so they thought, let's maximise the most we can get out of it now. Give John Cena the rub, and because he's our guy. Amazing. What you forget about John Cena, though, the difference between John Cena and Hulk Hogan is John Cena was like working 24/7 around the clock. I mean, back when Hogan was champ, there was like 4 big pay-per-views. Here, there's like one every month. Raws, SmackDowns. I mean, he's just all over the place. But, you know, he was always, no matter what pay-per-view it was, he was always there. You forget that. Good shot there of the WrestleMania crowd. So there it is, folks. John Cena, victorious, WrestleMania 26. Good match. Good pick by those that suggested it. I enjoyed watching that. Hadn't seen this match in quite some time. Can't say I really remember everything. Getting a replay now. You can't see me from the top rope. Sort of take that with a pinch of salt, really. But if you can look past that kind of stuff with Cena, you'll enjoy a lot of his work a lot more. There you go. There's the kick out. Good reaction there from Batista. Just like absolute shock on his face. Sold that well. I think it's difficult with these two guys because they were trying to do things that with these guys' body types is not easy to come across smooth. But I don't really mind that in my good wrestling matches. Always passionate, John Cena. You know, no matter how many times he won it or didn't win it, he was always passionate when he'd got them. Sold it to you $1 million. As he's out there with the fans now cheering. So guys, thank you once again for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. You won't miss a podcast. We're doing daily podcasts up and towards WrestleMania 36. I want to thank everybody who's been supporting the podcast. Obviously, we're in very difficult times at the moment. I hope everybody is okay and safe. And like I always say, if you're based in the UK, please take the government's advice. Stay indoors. Just go out for the essentials. You know, keep social distancing. And hopefully, fingers crossed, things will be back to the norm a lot sooner if we stick to that. But until tomorrow's podcast, folks, I've been John Scott. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow.